This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Former Brazil President Bolsonaro arrested for allegedly plotting escape ahead of prison term. G20 summit in South Africa adopts declaration despite United States boycott opposition. Nigeria records best ever performance in the history of Solidarity Games, returns home with an outstanding 11 gold and 30 overall medals. Now the details. The Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy has announced the postponement of the 2025 edition of the National Festival of Arts and Culture. The postponement was announced today in Abuja by the Special Assistant to Media and Publicity, Mrs. Nneka Anibeze, to the Minister Anatu Musawa, stressing that the decision followed a careful assessment of the national mood amid rising insecurity across various parts of the country. According to Mrs. Nneka, the festival was to be hosted by Enugu State and was scheduled to begin on the 22nd of November. But in solidarity with affected families and communities and out of deep respect for lives lost, the Minister in consultation with stakeholders has approved postponing the festival to a later date. The Minister emphasized that the decision reflects values of empathy, national unity and collective sensitivity, adding that a new date for NAFES 2025 will be announced following further consultations with stakeholders, including security agencies. The Oyo State government, through the Ministry of Investment, Trade, Cooperatives and Industry, has showcased a diverse collection of indigenous goods and products at the 2025 Nigeria International Trade Fair (NITF) held at the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex, Badagry. Leading the Oyo State delegation, the Commissioner for Investment, Trade, Cooperatives and Industry, Honorable Adeniyi Adebisi, described the state's participation as a bold step towards promoting the visibility of locally made products, empowering small and medium enterprises and deepening Oyo State's contribution to national trade development. Honorable Adebisi expressed appreciation to the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Oluseyi Makinde, for making the state's participation possible and for continuously supporting initiatives that promote commerce, industrial and economic expansion in the state. Also speaking, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mr. Olajide Okeshade, revealed that a 400 square meter space of land has been allocated to the state for exhibition, which is still under construction, saying that the ministry's management team has been working with the fair organizers to ensure that the pavilion is completed quickly and meets the expected standard. The trade fair continues until 30th of November 2025, offering opportunities for networking, business expansion and investment partnerships. The Provost of the Federal College of Education, Special Oyo, Dr. Ademola Rauf Salami, has called on the federal government to adopt state policing to address the recent security challenges affecting educational institutions in the country. Dr. Salami made the call on an educational program on Agidigbo FM today, stressing that all apprehended criminals and bandits should be prosecuted and executed without further delays.
It is an unexpected exigency. Plans were not on ground to protect these schools. And some of these bandits, they are going to schools to pack the learners just to ensure that they use them as shield. They are using them as shield because they know government has detected some of their enclaves and they are using these students to do backup for their shield. However, I'm thinking that government will have appropriate plan or should have appropriate plan to put measures in place. We cannot suspend or close schools indefinitely. As quickly as possible, I'm employing our leaders, the government, to ensure full security in these schools and ensure that students are back as early as possible. At FCE Special, like I told you earlier on, we have 2 security agencies.
Fielding questions on substandard teachers in educational system across the country, the provost urged relevant agencies to recruit qualified and trained teachers to improve the quality of education and help students grasp the curriculum more effectively.
And for a degree, you need to have not less than masters, except if you are a graduate assistant, you have first class. So our products who have first class, we are ready to consider them. And we are special institution. We are special institution. If you are coming into special education to lecture, then you must have training in special needs area. And if you are not teaching special education in the college, but you have an additional certificate that shows you have passion for persons with special needs.
The provost further commended the closure of 47 unity colleges in some parts of the country and further stressed that the priority of all responsive government and educational institutions should be the safety of all students. Teachers in Oyo State are raising their voices over what they describe as poor and frustrating examination conditions in the ongoing Teacher Registration Council of Nigeria (TRCN) exams. The protest, which took place at the center in Ibadan, drew attention to inadequate facilities, delays, and lack of proper support for candidates participating in the exercise. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Abiodun Oloyede and Ayomide Odeniyi were at the scene. Here is the report.
Some teachers across zones in Oyo State staged a peaceful demonstration agitating the glitches experienced during the ongoing Teacher Registration Council of Nigeria (TRCN) exams. The protest, which took place at Livingstone College, Olopomeji, Akubo, Ibadan, drew attention to key issues such as the lack of adequate computers for the computer-based tests and insufficient materials for teachers participating in the exercise. The teachers expressed frustration over the government failure to provide necessary infrastructure and support for a smooth examination process. Speaking with Agidigbo FM News, a teacher, Mr. Taiwo Ishola, expressed that these shortcomings have caused delays and discomfort, making the process stressful and unproductive.
We don't want to come back here for any exam again, because we spent money for bus before we reach here, and we are here now. We are not writing any exam. They should make it online. If at all we are going to write exam, let us write it at our comfort and soul.
Mr. Ogumuyiwa Abayomi, in another interview with Agidigbo FM News, blamed the TRCN body for the poor examination condition.
The center given to us, when we got there, number one, the facility is so small. The provision concerning the servers, the laptop they provide for us, all of them are not working. A
pregnant woman, Mrs. Rashid Sukuro, also described the exam experience as inconvenient, highlighting the difficulties faced during the process.
I'm here for Senate.
In another interview with Agidigbo FM, another teacher, Mr. Kola Festus, suggested the examination should be cancelled and urged the government to re-strategize.
This exam needs to be cancelled. They need to go and re-strategize. We are fathers, we are teachers, we are graduates, so we didn't deserve this. After our money, so we deserve better treatment than this.
Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, to act urgently by improving facilities, providing more computers, and better arrangements to accommodate the large number of teachers for the examination exercise.
It is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Agidigbo FM United Kingdom. I am Folashade Familusi. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was detained at his residence in Brazil's capital days before he was due to begin a prison sentence for leading a coup attempt. The former president was sentenced earlier this year to 27 years in prison for plotting to remain in power after losing the presidential 2022 election to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and has been under house arrest, as well as plotting a coup d'état. Bolsonaro was convicted of taking part in an armed criminal organization attempting to abolish Brazil's democratic order by force, committing violent acts against state institutions, and damaging protected public property. Furthermore, high-ranking military officials and a federal police officer were also sentenced to prison terms after they were found guilty of attempting a coup and plotting to kill the Brazilian president, Lula da Silva. President Donald Trump's ally, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has announced resigning from office. The Congresswoman relentless calls for releasing files related to late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and recent criticism of some of his policies led to a bitter public feud after the United States President Donald Trump labeled her a traitor. She then announced her departure days after their feud boiled over. President Donald Trump signed a bill that forces the United States Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein document within 30 days. That ends the news from Agidigbo FM United Kingdom. I am Folashade Familusi.
We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Soya. World leaders said Saturday that the U.S. plan for peace in Ukraine needs additional work as they scrambled to find a coordinated response to the proposal. While welcoming the U.S. efforts, the leaders also expressed concern over proposed limitations on Ukraine's armed forces. European powers have been caught off guard by the plan, which contains major concessions to Russia and was drawn up with little input from Ukraine or Europe. The 28-point plan calls for Ukraine to cede territory to Russia, abandon its long-held pursuit of NATO membership, and cut the size of the army. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the country faced the choice of losing its dignity or vital U.S. support, but Donald Trump has given Kyiv until next Thursday to accept the plan. Top U.S. and Ukrainian officials will meet Saturday in Geneva, Switzerland, to discuss the next step for ending the war, while one U.S. official saying that the goal was to iron out language before Zelensky meets with Trump. A group of 20 leaders summit in South Africa adopted a declaration addressing the climate crisis and other global challenges on Saturday after it was drafted without U.S. input in a move a White House official called shameful. The declaration, using language to which Washington has been opposed, can't be renegotiated. South African President Ramaphosa's spokesperson told reporters, reflecting strains between Pretoria and Trump administration over the event. Ramaphosa, host of this weekend's gathering of group of 20 leaders in Johannesburg, Adelia said there was overwhelming consensus for a summit declaration. The declaration used the kind of language long disliked by the Trump administration, stressing the seriousness of climate change and the need to better adapt to it, praising ambitious targets to boost renewable energy and noting the punishable levels of debt service suffered by poor countries. U.S. officials had indicated they would oppose any reference to it in the declaration. And that ends the news from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Soya.
Welcome back, and now to the exciting world of sport. As the curtain closes on the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Friday with a spectacular closing ceremony, Nigerian athletes head home after winning an impressive 30 medals to end the year on an outstanding note for Nigerian sports. Team Nigeria ended the Games with 11 gold medals, 12 silver and 7 bronze medals to record Nigeria's best ever performance in the history of Solidarity Games. The National Sports Commission's new strategy of attending international competitions with only athletes with podium prospects have already started paying off as the NSC featured only 7 sports at the Games, namely taekwondo, boxing, athletics, wrestling, weightlifting, para-powerlifting and para-athletics, and Nigeria won medals in all the sports. The Director General of the NSC, Honorable Bukola Olopade, said while the Commission is very happy with the outing in Riyadh, it will be very important to build on it ahead of next year's Commonwealth Games and future international competitions. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Federal government postpones National Festival of Arts and Culture 2025 over rising insecurity. Oyo government promotes local products for economic growth over 2025 trade fair. Former Brazil President Bolsonaro arrested for allegedly plotting escape ahead of prison term. G20 summit in South Africa adopts declaration despite United States boycott opposition. Nigeria records best ever performance in the history of Solidarity Games, returns home with an outstanding 11 gold and 30 overall medals. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. If you are working on something that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. With that, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Bowale Akinbode. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out-of-school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
The Southwest in Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo